Sarah, stay with me. Hey, hey, look at me. Don't close your eyes. Henry's voice cracked over the blare of traffic as he held the young woman upright in the middle of North Union Street. Her braids clung to her forehead, her breath coming in short, terrified gasps. Oklahoma's brutal heat scorched the pavement beneath them, and the stares of passing strangers only made the moment feel more surreal. Her fingers were cold. Too cold. Henry pressed a trembling hand to her back, steadying her as her knees buckled again. Cars honked. Someone yelled for them to move. But Henry didn't, he couldn't. Not when this girl looked like she was slipping away right there in his arms. And in that frantic heart-racing moment, he had no idea who she was. Hello, my wonderful family. Welcome back to Tales, your family channel. May the Almighty envelop every woman in a gentle, healing light so that every hidden hurt within her finds peace at last. May the one who has given her strength bless her with mornings filled with hope, nights filled with comfort, and days that bloom with joy she doesn't have to seek. May every woman who has endured pain in silence be granted miracles that elevate her spirit. May every mother, daughter, sister, and wife be surrounded by love that safeguards her, respect that elevates her, and blessings that follow her wherever she goes. May her heart remain whole. May her dreams continue to shine, and may her value be recognized as heaven honors those who give more than they ever receive. And my family, your love is the pulse of this channel. When you're quiet, it feels like I'm speaking alone. But one comment from you, one moment of your presence, reminds me that I am not on this journey by myself. I promise from deep within that I will respond to every message you send. If your heart is sincere, like the video. If your love is genuine, say, I stand with Tales. Or how this single choice would flip his entire life upside down. Minutes earlier, Henry had been walking toward the building that might finally change everything for him, the job interview he had prayed for. The one chance he couldn't afford to lose. But the moment he saw her body collapse onto the blistering street, the world forced him into a split-second decision. Keep walking and secure his future, or stay and save a stranger. And Henry's feet had already made the choice before his mind caught up. The day had started the way summer days often begin in Ponca City, bright, heavy, and merciless. Sunlight bounced off every glass surface downtown, turning sidewalks into shimmering bands of heat. People hurried along, chasing deadlines, paychecks, and second chances. Among them was Henry Carter, a 27-year-old who had been juggling part-time jobs for far too long. Today felt different, though. Today held possibility. He had ironed his one good shirt the night before. Printed his resume twice in case something went wrong. Whispered a quiet prayer before stepping out the door. This interview for a logistics supervisor role wasn't just another appointment. It was hope. A way out. A chance to help his mother, to breathe again financially, to finally step forward instead of sideways. He walked with purpose, rehearsing answers in his head, feeling both nerves and excitement coil in his chest. Everything depended on the next hour. He just didn't know fate was about to take that hour away. Henry crossed North Union Street, sweat forming at his brow as he imagined life finally going right. But before he reached the building's shaded entrance, movement in the crosswalk caught his eye. A young woman's step faltered. Her balance broke. Her body crumpled toward the asphalt. And without knowing her name, her story, or the price he was about to pay, Henry ran toward her. This is where his life truly began. Henry moved forward with a steady pace, the sounds of Ponca City pulsing around him. Delivery trucks rumbled past. Office workers hustled across streets with iced coffees in hand. Everyone looked like they had somewhere important to be, everyone except him. At least, that's how it had felt for most of his life. He clutched his resume a little tighter, reminding himself that today was different. Today he wasn't the guy juggling 3 part-time jobs or sprinting between shifts just to keep the lights on. Today he had a shot, one solid shot, to finally climb out of survival mode. His heart carried equal parts hope and fear, each step echoing both. As he approached the intersection on North Union Street, he mentally replayed potential interview questions. Strengths, weaknesses, experience. He whispered answers under his breath, trying to sound confident. Trying to believe he belonged in that building at all. People brushed past him, completely absorbed in their own schedules. Heat radiated from the pavement, blurring the edges of the afternoon. That's when he noticed her. A young black woman in a simple, elegant outfit, casual but effortlessly composed. Yet something about her movement felt wrong. There was a heaviness in her steps, a strain she fought to hide. She entered the crosswalk. And in the span of a heartbeat, everything shifted. It happened so fast Henry barely had time to register the movement. One moment the young woman was striding across the crosswalk, the next her knees buckled as if the ground had vanished beneath her. Her body crashed onto the scorching pavement, a dull thud swallowed by the noise of traffic. Her backpack spilled open beside her, notebook scattering. Her braids slipped forward, covering part of her face as she gasped, sharp, panicked, desperate. Real fear lived in her eyes, the kind that made Henry's chest tighten. People paused, stared, then kept walking. A few hesitated, unsure, unwilling to get involved. The world moved on around her. But Henry didn't. Before he could think of interviews, time, or consequences, he was already running. He slid onto the pavement beside her, ignoring the burn against his knees. Hey, look at me," he said, steadying her shoulders. "You're okay. I've got you." The sun hammered down, so he leaned over her, shielding her with his own body. He offered his water, guiding the bottle gently to her trembling hands. Her breathing came in shallow bursts. I haven't eaten or slept properly," she whispered, voice cracking. "I just feel faint." Minutes stretched, each one dragging him further past the chance he'd counted on. Still, he stayed until her breathing evened, until her shaking eased. When she finally sat up, Henry already knew, his opportunity was gone. "My name is Sarah," she murmured. "And nothing more." Henry jogged the last block toward the building, breath uneven, heart pounding for all the wrong reasons. His shirt clung to him, damp with sweat from the heat and the panic of knowing he was late. Too late. Still, he pushed through the glass doors, clutching his resume like some last lifeline. The receptionist looked up, her expression softening as soon as she saw the state he was in. "I'm here for the logistics supervisor interview," he managed, voice thin. Her regret was immediate. "Oh, I'm so sorry," she said gently. "Interviews ended about 15 minutes ago. The hiring manager already left." The words hit harder than he expected. Henry stood frozen, the room suddenly too quiet, too bright. He nodded slowly, swallowing the lump building in his throat. "I understand," he whispered. He walked back outside, the warm Oklahoma sky stretching endlessly above him, beautiful, vast, and painfully indifferent. He let out a shaky breath as the reality settled in. He had sacrificed the one shot he'd been holding on to for months, and yet he couldn't bring himself to regret helping Sarah. Still, the disappointment stung deep. "Why does doing the right thing always cost so much?" he muttered to himself. He checked his phone, no money for a rideshare. So he began the long walk home, each step heavy with what he'd lost. 8 days crawled by, each one blending into the next with the same dull rhythm of exhaustion. Henry slipped back into his routine, early mornings at the warehouse, afternoons delivering packages across town, and late nights cleaning offices long after everyone else had gone home. His body ached, but the quiet ache in his chest hit harder. Bills continued to appear on his kitchen table, stacked like silent reminders of the opportunity he'd lost. Still, he didn't mention the interview to his mother or his friends. He didn't want their pity, and he didn't want to explain why he'd missed the one chance he'd worked so hard for. In the small moments between shifts, Henry found himself sitting alone at his tiny kitchen counter, eating cheap microwave meals and scrolling through job postings that all blurred together. Every rejection email, every closed door chipped away at the hope he was trying desperately to hold on to. Sometimes, when the night was quiet enough, he thought of Sarah. He wondered if she was okay, if she ever figured out what caused her collapse. But he always shook the thoughts away. Their paths had crossed for only a moment. People like her didn't end up in the lives of people like him. Life felt unfair, heavy, unchanging. Still, Henry kept moving. It was the only thing he knew how to do. Henry was halfway through stacking boxes at the warehouse when his phone buzzed in his pocket. He almost didn't hear it over the rumble of forklifts and metal doors slamming shut. Unknown number. Oklahoma area code. Probably a spam call, he thought. He let it ring. Then, for some reason he couldn't explain, answered at the very last second. "Hello," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. A calm, composed voice replied, "Good morning. May I speak with Henry Carter?" His grip tightened around the phone. "This is him. This is Marcia Delacroix, executive assistant to Mr. Addison Smith." Henry nearly dropped the phone. Addison Smith. Everyone in Ponca City knew that name, the billionaire entrepreneur, philanthropist, and the man who owned half the businesses Henry passed on his delivery routes. The Addison Smith who lived in the historic Marland Mansion, a place most locals only saw during holiday tours. "I'm calling on Mr. Smith's behalf," Marcia continued. "He would like to meet with you. Today, if possible." Henry's breath caught. "Me? Why? I'm not at liberty to discuss details over the phone. A car can be sent to you." Fear, confusion, disbelief, all of it crashed over him at once. Nothing about this made sense. Nothing about it felt real. But somehow, Henry knew. His life was about to shift in a way he never could have imagined. The black sedan rolled up the long driveway, and Henry stared out the window in disbelief. Marland Mansion rose before him, grand stone arches, sweeping lawns, and a historic elegance that made him feel like he'd stepped into another world. He'd seen pictures, driven past it once or twice, but standing at its gates now, it didn't feel real. Guards greeted him with polite nods, their tone formal but respectful. A staff member guided him through towering hallways lined with portraits and glowing antique light fixtures. Every step echoed with a mix of awe and nerves twisting tight in his stomach. Then they stopped at a large set of double doors. Inside the grand living room, sunlight poured through tall windows, and there she was. Sarah. Healthy. Composed. A calm smile softening her features. She stood when she saw him, gratitude shining in her eyes. Henry froze. You're okay." "Yes," she said gently. "Because of you." Before he could respond, Addison Smith entered, commanding presence, sharp gaze, the unmistakable confidence of a man used to steering empires. Yet his eyes held something softer now, genuine concern. Sarah explained everything, her collapse, months of pressure, skipped meals, exhaustion. Addison stepped forward. "Henry, thank you," he said quietly. Henry shook his head. "Anyone would have helped." Addison's reply was firm, almost fatherly. "No, son. They wouldn't have." Henry sat on the edge of an ornate sofa, trying to steady his breath as Addison Smith stood before him. The billionaire's expression shifted from gratitude to something far more serious. "Henry," Addison began, "after Sarah told me what happened, I ordered my team to find you." He exchanged a glance with his daughter before continuing. "We reviewed traffic cameras, city surveillance, even bus stop footage. Eventually, we matched your face through a security clip. It took days. But we had to find you." Henry blinked, stunned. People like Addison Smith didn't search for people like him. Sarah's voice softened as she stepped closer. "I remember everything, Henry. You didn't leave me. You didn't panic. I felt safe." Her eyes glistened as she spoke. "No one else stopped. But you did." He swallowed hard, unsure of where this was going. He braced himself for a heartfelt thank you, maybe a handshake, maybe even a small reward for his trouble. Instead, Addison's next words knocked the air out of him. "I'm not offering you the job you missed." Henry felt his stomach plummet, a sharp ache forming in his chest. Until Addison continued, voice warm but full of authority. "I'm offering you a better one. Full benefits. Paid training. A real career path." The weight Henry had carried for years cracked open. And for the first time in a long time, he let himself break. Not from pain, but from overwhelming relief. Henry stepped into Smith Industries on his first official day, the badge around his neck feeling heavier than anything he had ever earned. Yet as he moved through the halls, receiving quiet nods, warm greetings, and curious glances, he felt something strange, something he hadn't felt in a long time. Belonging. He worked with quiet intensity, determined to prove that Addison's faith wasn't misplaced. And slowly, the team noticed his precision, his humility, his willingness to learn. Addison watched from a distance at first, but soon their conversations grew longer, their meetings more frequent. Addison didn't just guide him, he invested in him, becoming something Henry never expected, a mentor. Sarah checked in every few days, sometimes under the guise of just making sure the system transition went smoothly, but Henry could see the soft concern beneath her words. Their exchanges were brief, a little awkward, but warm, two strangers connected by one unforgettable moment neither could fully explain. At night, when the building quieted and the city lights shimmered outside the glass walls, Henry often remembered the moment Sarah collapsed and everything changed. He once believed that door was a dead end. Now he realized it was an entrance, just not the one he was chasing. Sometimes kindness is seen. Sometimes doing the right thing opens doors no interview ever could. And sometimes, strangers become the key to a new destiny. Thanks you for staying till the end. God bless, and please don't forget to subscribe because more interesting stories are up next.